Hello, people. Hello, you. You know who you are. Thank you for watching and listening to the Power of the Mind podcast. We are on episode, boy, we are way up there, 223 now. And I, of course, am hypnotist Jim Kellner, comedy hypnotist, stage hypnotist, speaker, and hypnotherapist. And I am joining Victoria Gallagher, who is, you know who she is, say it with me, the Law of Attraction hypnotist. She's the #1 best-selling author of The Practical Law of Attraction. Align yourself with the manifesting conditions and successfully attract your desires. She's also the founder of Hip Talk and the HypnoCloud apps, giving you access to over 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. Be sure and download it from the app stores. Hello, Victoria. How are you today?
Hello, Jim. I am wonderful, especially after that amazing introduction. Like when you were introducing me, like it was almost like, and you said, say it with me. And I saw myself like on stage and I saw you like introducing me on stage, like in front of all these
Nice.
thousands of people and having all these people out there going, the law of
Right.
attraction hypnotist.
That would be so cool. So cool.
I love it. I love it. So thank you so much. I'm even 10 times better than I was before.
Awesome. And that would be like 35,000 people, according to the most recent downloads report. So that's a lot of people saying it.
Right? I know. I know. Yes. So we hit a record of the most downloads and we hit a record in April, then we hit a record in May, and well, you're probably listening to this in September, so we're probably far beyond, probably like into 50,000 or more.
We've exceeded the Joe Rogan podcast. That's what we've done. We've exceeded the
Yes.
Joe Rogan podcast.
There we go. There we go. Joe Rogan, we're coming for you.
That's right. And thank you again, Victoria, for inviting me to co-host. What a pleasure it is. And it's so much fun hanging out with you.
It is. It is so much fun. I look forward to this.
Awesome. So today, of course, well, not of course, because nobody knows what we're talking about except you and I. But today we're talking about manifesting versus limiting beliefs. So, and I love
Ding,
this
ding.
post. Ding, ding.
It's like they're in the ring.
Right.
Which is going to
Exactly.
win? Going to manifest or
it depends on the
limiting
person,
beliefs,
right? The person
right?
at the day, really. You made a post, and what I really loved about it was like some of my my even more friends. I shared the post, and some of my friends that are not really into woo-woo stuff, they liked it too, because what you said was, I want to make sure I get it right, that the law of attraction has more to do with what's in your brain than what's in the universe. That's deep.
Yes. Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Well, so, and kind of speaking to that whole woo-woo thing, I knew this was going to be something with, some of your more analytical hypnotists out there that, just sort of decided the law of attraction is BS and
Right.
it doesn't work. But they're basing that on this whole other way of thinking about it that is not the way that I write about it. And so I'm always constantly keeping that in the back of my mind because I believe, because I wrote the book Practical Law of Attraction. It's
practical. It does not
practical.
say the woo-woo law of attraction.
It's not the woo-woo law of attraction. It's the practical law of attraction. Now, I did get a bad review. Actually, I don't know if we talked about this. I got a bad review because it's so left-brained and boring and you actually have to do work. Well, you know what? Guess what? You do have to do work. And I'm about to talk about what that work actually is, because, the thing is that, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And I'm just gonna spell it out, because here's the thing. It's like the people that believe in the whole woo-woo aspect of it, and then they're not getting any results from the law of attraction, and they won't do the work, and maybe they think they're doing the work because they think that all they have to do is say, I am rich, I am rich, I am rich, and a bag of money is going to
Yeah.
like open up from the sky and pour all over them. I mean, you actually see, I mean, these are
Yeah.
the visions that they're watching on
Right.
YouTube. They're watching bags of money floating through the sky. Well, that's not practical. Like bags of money, that doesn't actually happen. And so if you are thinking that the law of attraction is money falling from the sky, and you're just going to walk out on your, front porch, and you're going to see a Lamborghini parked out in front of your garage because you said a few affirmations one day, and then, that's going to magically happen. That's not what the law of attraction is. And so in my book, Practical Law of Attraction, I talk about the belief system. It's the fourth manifesting condition. There's 8 manifesting conditions, and beliefs, to me, out of all of the conditions, like like it's kind of like all these conditions are my little babies. And it's hard to say like, well, don't tell imagination and thought and desire. But beliefs is actually kind of like where it's at.
Uh-oh.
They're all important. Okay. They're all important. But, beliefs is like my firstborn, even though it's the fourth manifesting condition. And, I think you're always going to, well, no, I shouldn't say that. I was firstborn. No disrespect to the
Me too.
secondborn.
Me too. I mean, we're the best, whatever.
We are.
Let's just say it. Let's just say it. We're the best.
But let's talk about beliefs, because the thing is that, so it's manifesting versus limiting beliefs. Which one is going to win? Which one are you going to allow to win? Because all of the techniques, like go on TikTok, look up manifesting techniques, go on YouTube, look up manifesting techniques, go on Google, look up manifesting techniques. They're all going to basically be centered around the same thing. Say these affirmations,
Right.
visualize this,
Meditate.
walk backward, and, put your hand up in the air.
Yeah. Right.
All right. They're all rituals. They're all routines designed to change your beliefs. Every single one of these manifesting techniques are about that. And so the thing is that we always get what we expect. Like we were talking about in our last episode, if we expect to go into a situation and have everybody hating us, or we expect that everybody's going to suck and blah, 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 we're going to ultimately create that. And it's tricky. It's tricky to work on the area of our beliefs, because beliefs are multi-dimensional, multi-layered. Because you can say to yourself, okay, I believe that I'm going to manifest my dream soulmate. Okay. You can say, I believe that all day long. You can say that and think that I believe that. Like, I really think I believe that. But do you really believe it at a subconscious level? And that's what the limiting beliefs, I believe most of the limiting beliefs are at the subconscious level, below our conscious awareness. We don't even know that they exist. We don't know what we don't know. And what we don't know is usually the subconscious limiting beliefs that those are what are holding us back from having our manifestations. What do you think about that? Because you're a hypnotist too, and you teach this stuff too. And what are your thoughts about what I just said?
Well, it's so absolutely spot on, I mean, and this is, as you get better, as you learn this stuff and you get better correcting yourself, it's amazing what you see in other people all the time. And I'm constantly going, "Ooh, why are you saying that?" And why would you indulge in that belief system? I mean, very much like, everybody's a jerk or whatever, everybody sucks, like we talked about last time. And one of the things that I wanted to kind of backtrack, if I could, and I hate to get off topic, but I wanted to really just point out, as I've said in another episode, and I know we've talked about before, I've known two women, two hypnotists that were kind of amateur hypnotists. They wanted to be professionals, and they said almost the exact same thing. I knew them, differently, different times, but almost the exact same thing. I meditate and I focus all the time on becoming a professional hypnotist, and it's not working. And I'm thinking, but you're not doing anything. All you're doing is meditating and focusing. I knew that neither one of them were taking the steps, doing the
Yeah.
work. And please believe me, folks. And I wanted to say too, can I just say brava? Because you know what I think, this book, if it wouldn't have said Practical Law of Attraction, I think you could have sold more books. I know you've sold a lot, but if you would have went the woo-woo way and not given people a bunch of actual exercises and work to do, you could have sold out. You could have sold more books. But I mean, really, good for you. And this is what attracted me to your work, was that I said, whoa, the practical law of attraction. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I
that's kind of my
appreciate
thing.
that. I do make it a little harder on myself, having the integrity and the honesty and the genuine and the authenticity. Like, I cannot like just sell BS. It was kind of like B shit. I just made up a new word. B shit. Anyway, so I'm not going to be one of those people that swears all the time. I promise.
Oh
Because
God, me too.
I don't do that.
I think you had to be a coach now. You have to use the F word every other word.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because you have to prove that it's all about authenticity, but then, it's like anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like some people I think really do find it easier to sell BS and crap and things that, I mean, God, like some of the I think the other thing too, like when I'm talking about other people find it easier to sell the BS, I used to be a stockbroker, and
Right.
I think I when I was a stockbroker, we could not build up any kind of expectations about what people were going to make. We could not even promise people that they were going to make a certain amount of money by investing in these mutual funds. We could take the Ibbotson chart out and we could say, like, this is what happened in the past. But then we had to make a disclaimer and say, but past results are no indication of, of future results, or whatever it used to be. That was over 23 years ago that I quit that industry. But I think I came from a little bit more of a conservative background where I always under promised and over delivered. And that's what I always do. I under promise and over deliver. You know that when you've been to my, my presentations, and I'm kind of humble about what you're gonna get when you get into one of my formal presentations. When we're here on the podcast, I'm really talking off the top of my head, and I hope that obviously I must be giving some value to people, because the listeners are growing and they continue to listen. They continue to make comments on the Instagram and things like that. But anyway, I don't want to get too far off the topic.
Sorry, I got us off topic, but I just wanted to say that, because I think really it's astonishing. I mean, really, it's such a good book, and yeah. Anyway,
thank you.
But what do we? So I mean, so back to beliefs. How do we know what we really believe? I mean, these beliefs come from infancy, it seems, sometimes, right?
Absolutely. So that's a really, really good question. And I think that you can really look at your feelings, like for one, like, how do you actually, like, what is when you think about your manifestation and you think about whether you actually believe it, what kind of a feeling does that generate? Does it manifest in you as a feeling of fear, or does it manifest in you as a feeling of love? And those are the two most basic ways that you can, like, so is it more like I love this? I love that, and then from love, do you feel passionate about it? Do you feel excited about it? Do you feel enthusiastic about it? Do you feel positive about it? Do you feel confident about it? Or on the fear side, are you angry that it hasn't happened yet? Are you feeling anxiety about, like, I don't know how this is going to happen? So are your feelings generated from love, or are they generated from fear? If they're generated on the love side, then that's a pretty good indication that you really do believe in it. Another way, so that's your feelings. Another way that you would know is what kind of actions are you taking? And, if you really believe that you're going to win the lottery, what kind of action are you taking? Are you buying lottery tickets?
Yeah, right.
Right?
Are you meditating on it or are you buying a lottery ticket?
Right? Do you really believe, or do you really believe you're a millionaire? Do you really believe that you're at your perfect health and body weight? How are you acting? What are you doing? Are you acting in alignment with how the person behaves that's already achieved that? Because that's the B part. You have to you have to believe it in order to ultimately take possession of it. You have to be the thing. And that's what the alignment with all these manifesting conditions is all about. The belief is going to have you taking the right actions. The belief is going to have you feel a certain way. And the feeling that certain way is going to have you taking the actions that you would need to take to manifest the results. So what are your conversations like? Like, it hasn't happened yet. And, that I can't do this. I don't know how, like, what are your conversations like? Are you having positive conversations? It's like, yep. And you're checking off the boxes and you're just kind of going through the motions. It's almost like the movie has already been created. The vision for how this is going to all play out, it's already been created, and you're just on an exciting adventure, like taking the next adventure to get there. And it's like, ooh, this is an adventure. I'm in. I'm ready. I'm gonna do that. And you look at everything, and this is another way you know that you believe it. You look at every single thing as an opportunity. There's no obstacles. Everything that's happening is an opportunity. You know what? When it didn't work out with my last my last development team, that's an opportunity, because you know what? If I hadn't worked out, it wouldn't have given me this new vision that I created with this new development team. Like, we sat down and we said, you know what? We're going to start this thing from scratch. We're going to start all over again. We got a blank canvas, and it allowed me to let go of the old and bring in, we can create anything. Like, we're no longer limited by the confines of what we had with this old application. Now the sky is the limit. What do we want to create? And that's all I was only going to get. I was only going to get within this small old version with the old. So that was an opportunity that it didn't work out. It sucked. I spent all that money, wasted a lot of time, energy, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't matter. The last 2 years doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is the next 2 years.
Yeah. I'm reminded of the old Garth Brooks song, thank God for unanswered prayers.
Yes. When it didn't work out with that significant other,
Yeah.
then that's an opportunity, because when Steve and I had our little breakup, that was an opportunity, because we would have never gotten on the right track without that breakdown. Like, all the misadventures when I got fired. I didn't even get fired, but when I was given the ultimatum,
Right.
to 30, you gotta have 30 days to make a decision on what you're going to do. And I said, oh God, that really is not enough time to build a whole business from scratch. But whatever, it was an opportunity. And if I hadn't have had that opportunity presented to me, guess what?
Right.
I may still be slaving away as a stockbroker, doing something I, didn't really enjoy anymore, and still not afraid to jump off the diving board into the deep end of the ocean. Well, I don't think they actually have diving boards in the ocean, but Maybe if you're on a big ship.
A big pier or something. Yeah. You jump off the pier anyway.
Right. So anyway, what allowed me every single thing that I've ever manifested, some opportunity had to happen, first, that I had to look at from a whole different angle.
I agree completely. And, I think a lot more people would do a lot better in life if they had their kind of safety job, like kind of taken out from underneath them, and really able to go, heck with it. I got to do this now. I got to do this side hustle to become my real hustle or something like that. So it's
Absolutely. And it's the same thing, like people have this money conversation. Okay. I want to tell you when it comes to your money beliefs, here's what you're committed to. Look at your bank account.
Hmm.
Look at your bank account. This is what you truly believe. This is what you truly believe in. Your actions. It's the actions that you are taking. So you spend money on Netflix, and
Right.
that's and look, nothing against Netflix. I buy entertainment too. But if you're
Mhm.
saying, I don't have enough money to invest in myself, I
Yeah.
don't have enough money to which is the craziest thing, like anybody who smokes.
Right.
And God bless you if you like actually really truly love smoking.
Right.
Then, and no judgment, but like the people that like down deep inside, you really want to quit smoking, but like you're scared, you feel like you don't have the money. But like we were having this conversation in the app the other day, about not my app, but the WOVA or whatever for the hypno thoughts.
Oh
We're
yeah.
having that conversation, and it's like quitting smoking doesn't cost anything. I mean,
Right. Yeah. You're saving money.
you
Yeah.
are 100% saving. Even if you took, Ken Gutso's, $750, class. I mean, how long do you have to smoke, to
Pay
make
that
up the
back.
$750? Not long these days.
Right. Yeah. It's so true. Absolutely.
So anyway, your money tells you what you're committed to, is what I'm saying. Like that tells you what your beliefs are. That tells you everything you want to know, I think, about what you actually believe about money. Your bank account tells you what you believe about money.
Yeah. And your time. I mean, you can't be telling me, that you really wish you could launch that side hustle, go become a hypnotist full-time, for instance, when you're also posting on Facebook, hey, what's the next Netflix that I should binge on? I mean, it just, those things don't equal each other. I mean, yeah, spend some money on entertainment, but there's a limit, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I wonder if that's, I mean, is it possible there's a limiting beliefs? Maybe you're getting in the way there.
Yes. Well, yes. Yeah. And it's not a rank down. It's just to explain that, this isn't necessarily true and factual, that you don't have enough time, that you don't have enough money, but it's an
Right.
invitation for you to take a look, to take a look inside and see, what do you believe about that? Because, that's what's at play here, it's the belief that you have about it, which is really just a story. It's really just a perspective.
Yeah.
It's really just, beliefs are not even necessarily accurate. They're not even facts. They're things that we kind of have bought into at some point, but the limiting beliefs get in the way of you living up to your full potential. And so they're just stories that you tell yourself over and over again. And like when you notice yourself like saying that story over and over again, like that's an opportunity there to say, wait, here I am telling that same story again about why. I mean, people are they're so much more committed to their excuses and why they
Oh,
can't do something.
yeah.
If when you hear yourself saying, here's how to discover your limiting beliefs. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me say, you can do anything, whatever you hear yourself, but
Yeah, but
yeah, but anything that comes after that, yeah, but there it is. That's
Right.
your limiting belief. Anytime you hear yourself saying, yeah, but, that's your limiting belief. That's your limiting belief. And it's not your fault necessarily that you got these limiting beliefs. I mean, most of us never had a chance
Right.
to put up any kind of resistance or guard to prevent these limiting beliefs from going in, because all of this came in before we even really had our conscious mind awareness built up. Our conscious mind is where our reason, our logic is, and it's like going to question things. It's going to say, "Oh, really? Are you sure about that?" Well, we didn't have that ability to say, "Well, are you sure about that?" when mommy and daddy were
Right.
having the argument in the living room about, how are we going to afford this? And your dad failed to send the child support check again. So, we got to get on welfare, and, all these conversations that say, I'm poor, I don't have enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, nothing good's ever, I'm never going to amount to anything. All of these things, they just went in without any resistance, without any conscious ability to say, stop. I don't want to believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
And,
didn't
I
get a
mean,
chance.
you're right, because, I mean, I can remember I don't even remember when I first heard my grandma say, rich people are evil. I mean, it goes all the way back to, I mean, as far as I can possibly remember, or the love of money is the root of all evil, those kind of things.
Yeah,
It's in there. It is so in there.
it is. It's deeply ingrained, and it's the brain is so super sophisticated. It's really set up to it's really designed to operate based on these beliefs and programs, so that, look, we don't have to think about how to tie our shoes every time. We don't have to think about how to step on the brake and the gas every time. But when it comes to anything that we want to break through and create different and create a change, anytime we want to create some kind of change, we got to be able to figure out how to get out of autopilot on those things too, because we're operating on autopilot on pretty much every single thing in our life, including all of our hopes and our dreams. All of that. No, like you haven't been able to break through that before. It's never going to happen. No one's ever been a millionaire in your family. No one's ever everybody's been divorced in your family. You're going to end up, divorced too. Everybody's an alcoholic. No one's ever, whatever. Like you get all of these beliefs, and they just become how you operate in the world.
And I mean, obviously, they do some of these beliefs that we pick up, they help us. And really, I mean, it's good that we have this kind of open slate when we're born, because we can, our parents or whatever can tell us things like, don't drink poison, or, don't walk out of traffic. And we kind of take it in really quickly. We may not listen, but it's there. But then it's got to hold us back, right? I mean, it's also getting in the way of all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely. Well, there's benefits. There's definitely benefits to the beliefs, because most of them, the whole, I think, in a way, I mean, like, the whole job of the subconscious mind is just to keep us alive. I mean,
True. Yeah.
that's like, all of our bodily functions are stored there. So if we could just easily go in there and tinker around with those beliefs anytime we want, we could hurt ourselves. We could say, okay, let's go ahead and make our heart stop as long as we want. Right? Well, there's an automatic process that kicks in if you hold your breath too long, that's going to keep you alive.
Yeah.
And that's an automatic process. Well, you know what? That same automatic process that kicks in when you hold your breath too long is going to kick in the next time you go and need to, get a 10, 20, 30, $40,000 loan from the bank. And it's like, oh my God, I'm going to run out of money. I'm not going to be able to survive. I'm not going to be able to, run my business. I'm not going to be able to afford to pay the mortgage if I just keep doing that. And, and sometimes that's helpful. obviously you need that to kick in so you don't end up filing bankruptcy, but you also need to know, well, where's the limit on, like, where's the point of, like, well, I need to be able to push past that limit, and take a new risk and get into new territory beyond these old limiting beliefs, beyond the safety, beyond the comfort zone, so that I can reach beyond into new territory and go where I've never gone before. I mean, you don't think like Elon Musk had to at some point bust through some kind of like limit in his own mind? I mean, the guy seems pretty limitless to me, but like
Yeah,
I'm sure that every human being, even the one, he probably has far more limiting beliefs than we realize. Like
probably.
he
Yeah.
he probably has a limiting belief about, being able to go, to Saturn or
Sure.
someplace not Mars,
Yeah.
go beyond Mars, like, yeah, he knows how to get to Mars, but does he really know how to get to, and again, I told you about my geography.
Right. Yeah. Whether it's on Earth or outer space, it
Or
doesn't
in
matter.
outer
It's still
space, it
limited.
doesn't matter. I have a
Well,
limiting belief about my geography.
his limiting beliefs may not be exclusive to work and success in that kind
Exactly.
of way.
Yeah.
It has
Yeah.
some around other. I can't think of a good example right now, but I mean
Relationships, maybe.
relationships, absolutely. Things like that. So that makes a lot of sense. I mean, wouldn't it be great if we could just if it was like a chalkboard, we could just erase them? I know it doesn't quite work that way. Those limiting beliefs. How can we get rid of them?
Oh my God. That's so funny that you say that because no, I do, that's one of my techniques. You
Oh,
just like,
nice.
yeah, it's not quite a chalkboard, it's a whiteboard.
Uh,
But yeah, it's a really, really amazing technique that I work with a whiteboard where people do write down their old limiting beliefs and they cross them out, and then they write the new empowering beliefs on there, and then they assume their you know feeling and move into their future with their so it's a whole cool little but anyway, yeah, so so ask the question again. You
So
can't
I mean,
just
so how?
write them down on the
So unfortunately,
chalkboard.
we can't. I dated myself with the chalkboard. It should have been a whiteboard. We can't just do that. And it's funny because I do that when I make someone on stage or in street hypnosis forget their name or a number. I put it on a whiteboard and erase it, and it works fantastic. Um,
Ooh, I like that.
yeah, so
I
we
like
can't we can't just do that, unfortunately, or we can if we go into hypnosis and do it. But what are the steps, like one of our 13 million listeners could future pacing there.
13 million.
Yeah, our 13 million listeners, what could they do?
Yeah. So
Well, you got some limiting beliefs. That's how you got 13 million. Come on, that's a limiting belief, Victoria.
you know what? I am not excluded from the limiting belief
Get the whiteboard
crowd.
out. Just
I'm
put the
gonna get it.
whiteboard up there, Victoria. Come on.
So we can ultimately, what we need to do ultimately is determine what those beliefs are. That like when we find that we have tried something over and over again and we're just not getting the result that we want, or even we're not trying. Some beliefs will just have you stuck and have you not even trying, and that's pretty hard. So, you know, the first thing is you want to like kind of figure out like where are you stuck? Like what is it that I'm, either doing over and over the same way and not getting the right result, or what is it that what is it that I want to create and that I'm not taking any action on? And you want to ask yourself like what do I what do I believe about that? Like what, and find out, like ask yourself, like, what is the belief that I have about that? And this, I believe is like really generated from the subconscious mind, not necessarily like, is it just going to come to you consciously, but you want to like meditate on it. You want to like actually get yourself into like a quiet, calm space so you can allow the honest version of whatever this is that's getting in your way to come up. And so I have people take 5 or 10 minutes and say, what is getting in my way of achieving X? And you're going to hear some answers from that. You're going to hear inside, you're going to hear, I don't have enough time. I don't know how. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. It costs too much money. Nobody wants to help me. Money is the root of all evils. No one's ever been able to do that in my family before. I mean, like, just, on and on, hundreds of possibilities will come up for a person, but you're going to hear a half a dozen excuses as to why you're not able to do that. These excuses, these are the beliefs. So that's how you actually find out what the belief is. That's the very first step. Obviously, without awareness, you can't fix anything. So you've got to at least become aware. What is the truth? What's really holding me back? And once you figure out what that belief is, I just always like to start with just one. We got to address just one at a time. Focus on this one belief. Take the one that's going to have the biggest impact for you. Maybe one of these beliefs is going to knock down the whole set of dominoes. Like, I like kind of almost look at them like a set of dominoes. So what's the one belief that if I got that one adjusted, that it's also going to work out these other beliefs as well? It's going to change the dynamic for the rest of everything that I believe. Because one belief can actually create, it can change many beliefs at the same time. So which one of those is having the biggest impact on you right now? Which one of those beliefs is gonna, and then this is where you want to do kind of like the putting it on the witness stand. It's the interrogating that belief.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to, I mean, you could even like do you can imagine that, like, this belief, you could almost like treat it like a parts therapy kind of thing. And you could take that belief out. You could, give it a name. You could, make it look like something. And you could literally put it on the, witness stand, or you put, sit across from you in a table. You sit at a chair across from you, and literally just, pick that belief apart. And like, because the belief's not serving you in any way. So just like, it's just, how do I know that this is true?
Yeah.
How do I know that this is true? And, and so pick it apart, ask it like, well, when did you start believing that? When did you start believing that? Who told you that? Where did you get this? Where did you learn to start thinking about that? And then, okay, I learned that from mom. I learned that from dad. I learned that from a kid in school. I learned that from, okay, so is that person an expert?
Right.
Are they an expert? Like, so many people, they get their money beliefs from their parents. Well, it's like, were your parents rich?
If they were broke, they're probably not the expert, right?
Right? Are they good with money? And, so then you almost just kind of want to like, just make it silly to you. Like, make that belief almost seem like that is so silly. Like that,
Why would I believe that? Right.
how could I possibly believe that is preposterous?
Right.
And so now you broke down that belief. All right. So first we got the awareness, figured out, what the belief is. Now we're like breaking it down. Now that we broke down that belief, we're already halfway there. But then, where I believe nature abhors a vacuum comes into play. Like, if you don't replace that belief, automatically another belief is just going to come and fill its place. So we want to go ahead and replace that belief with a belief that counteracts that belief. And so that's where, we create an empowering new belief. What do I want to believe instead? What do I choose to believe instead? And, whatever that belief sounds like, you create that new belief. And then, get that belief into your subconscious mind, doing hypnosis, doing visualization, doing the affirmations, doing the journaling. But not, seeing this is like, when people follow, all these trends of manifesting techniques and things like that, that you're taking like somebody else's like story and somebody else's empowering belief, and saying that you want to speak to your own, like you want
Right.
to create your own belief that actually is meaningful to you, and you want to journal about that. And that's what like all these manifesting tools are designed to do. So you reprogram your mind using self hypnosis. You create your own affirmations, you get those firmly implanted into your subconscious mind, you visualize yourself, you see yourself acting with these new behaviors as the person who has that belief. Like, how would you be acting now that you have this new belief? Do some future pacing, so getting all of that into the subconscious mind. Then just, to solidify it even more, now you want to start to find evidence that this belief is actually true. And, so you find evidence out in the world, just working evidence like, yeah, well, if this is true for Tony Robbins, then it's certainly true for me. If this is true for Shaquille O'Neal or, whoever, whatever, you want to find evidence, find proof that this belief is actually valid, and then test yourself, like see how you feel when you are acting with these new behaviors. And, sometimes it takes more than once to to continue to to continue to validate these beliefs. It takes more than one hypnosis session, to do that. But eventually, you are going to, if you work at it, this is the work. This is the work that you have to do. You've got to change those beliefs, and they can be a little tricky, and they can be a little pesky. And but that's the work. That's when you get that, you're going to be a master at manifesting.
Yeah, I know we have obviously I think going to a hypnotist would be very helpful for people to break through this. I know we have a lot of hypnotists that listen to this. And I mean, how easy would it be to just kind of rewind this a little bit, take some notes and go in and make your own hypnosis, either recording or do some self-hypnosis. I think it seems really valuable to me to actually, I've never really kind of done it from this breaking down and kind of trying to get rid of a belief. It's sort of like I'm just trying to overpower it with new beliefs instead of kind of getting rid of or sort of I like challenging it. Is this true? And I know, I mean, I see plenty of evidence in the world that, not all rich people are evil, or, money is the root of all evil and these kind of things, but it's just not getting into the deep part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's, because to me, like once you really shine a light on that belief and you kind of see it for what it is, and it's like, why have I been believing that? To me, like you're kind of like halfway there. Like you're not trying to just overpower that, but you're actually creating space for the new belief. You're actually like assembling that old belief. What are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. I think that doing that, and it just kind of occurred to me too, that I think a lot of these sayings like this, like also like money doesn't buy happiness, which I'd say BS. I think money could buy a lot of happiness. But I think a lot of these are things that people have told themselves throughout the generations to make themselves feel better about the fact that they don't have money, right?
I agree with that. But I think I think that's definitely a limiting belief, that money doesn't buy happiness. It's also not necessarily true that money does buy happiness. So like both are true, because, money can buy temporary satisfaction. But if you're not like starting from, like, if you're not a happy person, there's no amount of money that can that can change your attitude. It can change you, from a mean old, mad, depressed person into like a happy person, no matter how much money was placed in front of you. Like you might have a sudden feeling of pleasure in the moment. But it's not going to buy like long-term happiness. Eventually you're going to adjust to that amount of money that you've had, and then you're going to want more.
Yes. The adjustment thing is tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all relative. Yeah.
Exactly. Like once you get the new car and the new car smell wears off, usually, once the new car smell wears off, then that car is no longer like making you happy. Not that it necessarily made you happy, to begin with, but I think happiness is the key to having, what you want. Not just happiness, but just the overall, whatever state you're expecting, the money, the love, the health, the success, the business, the friendships, the whatever it is you want to manifest out there, whatever you're expecting out there to make you feel, you got to feel that way now. And that is the energetic pull that's going to have you vibrating and doing and being the person. You got to be that now, and then you'll do, and then you'll have.
You got to be what you want to see.
Be what you want to see. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
I've got this thing. So I have these preconceived notions about what I think a hypnotist is or should be. And so what I've been doing lately is I've been telling myself, I am the hypnotist. And so when I'm going through life, whatever that situation is it's like, what my vision of me as a badass hypnotist, what would I do? And it makes my choices a lot easier.
Yeah, I like that. So it's kind of like you step into your role that you have, you have a role, and how would I need to be in order to, handle this situation better?
Yeah, play that role correctly. Yeah,
Play the
absolutely.
role.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these are really good. I think I'm just looking at my notes here, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can sit down and just do a recording, create a hypnosis recording around this. Or if you're not a hypnotist, you can make a meditation recording. Just take your phone and talk into it and guide yourself through this process. And I bet you get rid of at least a couple of them in a pretty short amount of time, or at least make them not so impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you definitely could get, I agree. Like take what we've done here, make a little recording out of it. And, you can even chop up our video or our
Right.
audio and
Yeah.
make a little recording for yourself out of it, play it over and over and let it release you. I mean, do that, use the power of your imagination to, like eradicate this belief however you want. Like realize again, like you can choose to believe something else. It's all a matter of like, you can choose your story, choose your adventure, choose your story. And, the old stories, they'll always be there somewhere in the background, but it's the same way that like, the mountains, the paths that you've taken, those paths are always going to be there. You're always going to be able to,
Right.
if you wanted to choose those paths, but now you're creating a new path. And that'll be the path that you'll automatically choose moving forward from here on.
And just like, if you've ever done any kind of like hiking or gone, trying to make your own trail, it's a little tough at first. It'd be much easier to go back to that easy trail. So it does take some work to hack away and make that trail for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just kind of like, if you decided I'm going to start putting my pants on with my left leg first instead of my right leg. Well, you know what? You can always put your pants on with your, putting your pants on with the right leg first is like, for me, I mean, that's a given. Like, that's just the way I'm always going to do it. And it's an automatic, like, but for the first few times, if I decided, okay, you know what, from now I'm going to put my pants on left leg first, then it's going to be a little awkward at first, but eventually I'm going to create a new habit around that. And it's going to almost seem awkward to do it the other way.
Right.
And it's
Exactly.
the same way with the beliefs. You try on these new beliefs, you start acting and behaving with these new beliefs. It might seem a little awkward at first, might seem a little unnatural, but eventually, as you behave that way more often, it's going to be harder to change the other way. But I always tell people, when people like ask about like whether, the change is permanent. And I always say, like, the change is only as permanent. Your brain is, has the elasticity. So it's only as permanent as the environment that you set up to support that change. If you decide you want to unchange that or change it back, you can do that, because it was not permanent to begin with. And so the new belief is also has that same level of vulnerability. It can change back too.
Exactly. You've still got that neural pathway. The old neural pathway is still there, just like that old trail is there. So
Yeah,
easy to go back.
it exists. You just,
Right.
are going to be less likely to go down that path.
Yeah, absolutely.
More. Yeah.
What a great episode. I'm looking forward to making my recording. Hey, if you're out there and you're going to do this and you actually do it, I'd love to hear about it. Post in the group or send Victoria an email or something, chat about this. One of the things that I have found is if I'm an active participant in my change, things happen a lot quicker than if I just sit back and just take in this information. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great information. Doesn't do that much for you until you actually act on it.
I agree with that. You have a higher level of commitment and and more invested in it, because it's yours and you're choosing it. And so I highly agree with that. And hey, one of the other best ways to change limiting beliefs, you don't, as like definitely be an active participant. But if you want to listen to some pre-made hypnosis, then definitely.
You should definitely do that too.
You should
to get
definitely
you
do
ready
that
to do the
too.
actions.
Definitely download the HypnoCloud app, and definitely look at, I actually have, change limited beliefs, release old patterns, I have all kinds of programs in there about, change, any one of those sessions is about changing beliefs. I mean, that's what hypnosis is designed to do, is to change your beliefs. And so, listen to any of those hypnosis sessions. Here's the key, like the subscriptions, like what, a little over $10 a month. And if that seems like not affordable to you, just like download the app for 7 days and then listen to Confidently Abundant or something around money and prosperity, and just watch what happens. Watch just what happens even in 7 days of listening to this. And then you'll be able to afford not only the subscription, but everything, other things that you want in your life as well. And I say that with a disclaimer.
Well, I got to say, and this is being totally honest with you, people. If you can't afford $10, you need to spend $10. You do. You need to spend $10 if it's going to help you. It's not $1,000. I mean, this is a no brainer. I mean, seriously.
It's an absolute no brainer. It's like there was a Confucius says that you should spend 20 minutes meditating every day, unless you should sit for 20 minutes in meditation every day, unless you have no time, then an hour.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. If you don't have $10 to spend, you need to get the app and start working on yourself and start making that extra $10.
Exactly. Exactly.
True.
You know what? I keep wanting to create, like, because I have ideas to create sessions for, like, manifest $10,000 months, but that might even be too much for some brains to handle. It's like, manifest $10. Right. Manifest $10 so you can keep listening to the app.
and then put it into the free section, so they can go into the free section, and then they can afford the next month to.
Woo, yeah, there we go. Manifest the ability to keep listening to afford the subscription to this app. Awesome. I will do Thanks, that. Victoria. That'll be coming up soon. Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much. This was fun, and I hope it was really informative. I hope I gave you guys the breakdown on, how to get in there and change these limiting beliefs, because it's so important, because everyone deserves to have the life that they dream of for themselves, to allow themselves the possibility to dream big, dream again. And, when you get rid of these, and you're never going to get rid of all your limiting beliefs, you're only just going to get rid of the ones that you're determined and focused to. Some of the limiting beliefs, you can keep those, and those are fine. Those are fine. Like, people have limiting beliefs that actually work for them, and they can keep those, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with limiting beliefs, but if they are preventing you from living the life that you desire and deserve, then it's time to go in and do the work on yourself. And that is how it's limiting beliefs versus manifestation. Which one are you going to allow to have in your life, the limiting beliefs or the manifestations? I hope you choose the manifestations. I hope you choose to continue to listen to this podcast and give us feedback on what you got out of the show. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next time.